Good evening and welcome to Having Our Say, a solution conversation radio program. And as we say, where there's a problem, there's definitely a solution. I'm your host, Adrienne Bosley, and we are recording live at KMIT 6616 FM. Our topic for today is, how can political candidates run on respect and put civility back into politics? And with us today are two community activists and organizers all the way from sunny California. My first guest is Ms. Karen Bankhead. Ms. Karen Bankhead is an actor, writer, and producer with numerous credits. As a community volunteer, Ms. Bankhead has worked with the Los Angeles County Voters Registration and is a member of the League of Women Voters. Our next guest is one of the busiest community organizers that I have had the pleasure of working with, the lovely Miss Diane Mitchell-Henry. Ms. Diane Henry is an international relations advocate who serves on the board of directors and is the Los Angeles County Chapter Chair for the American Women for International Understanding, a nonprofit organization that supports and advocates for women leaders and the work of nonprofit organizations that are doing wonderful work around the world. Today's topic is, how can political candidates run on respect and put civility back into politics? Now that the primaries are over and we're entering into the final stretch of the campaign trail, do you think we can get the politicians to put away their boxing gloves and clean up their acts and run a campaign of respect and civility to the finish line? Ms. Bankhead, what are your thoughts?
Well, let me tell you, Adrienne, I think that, in my honest opinion, how do I say this? I don't have a lot of respect for a lot of candidates, and some of them are actually clownish, if you ask me. It's like they took the R-E-S-P-E-C-T, as our friend Aretha said it. They took the respect out of respect, and they buried it from the very beginning, you know. And did they know that they should have been running a respectable campaign? Some of the things that they say, it's not respectable. And whatever happened to compassion and empathy for the constituents that the candidates are supposed to be reaching out to?
Yes, because many Americans frown upon the ill-mannered politicians, and we have acknowledged that this is a major problem in campaigns. The current state of the political climate has become an impediment for people to be seriously engaged in this voting process. Ms. Henry, given the way things have escalated in such a negative direction, what is your assessment of candidates' behavior, and what would you recommend?
First of all, I would like to say respect is the number one quality that all candidates need to have on the platform as well as off the platform. They need to represent not only themselves, but they're representing their constituencies. They're representing the community. They're representing the nation. They're representing the world.
Yes.
That's right.
And if we have mood swings, taking things personally, putting negative thoughts out in the public, those are the things that characterize and eliminate the goal of being respectful. At this point, we're saying we need to have respect.
Yes. And as a member of the media industry, I recognize, how important election seasons is, for the media, such as television and radio and print. This is a hot time for them. Yes. This is a time for advertisement giants, and, they start swinging left and right, and all sorts of negative ads in many different directions. Ms. Bankhead, what is your perspective of how the media handles the campaign season?
Well, with all due respect to you, Adrienne, Miss
Yes.
Media, it's starting already. The ads are out there now, and I think that's going to only get worse because this is like Christmas for the media. It really is, and they become almost corrupt and very irresponsible. I think they do have a responsibility, and sometimes they miss out on that just for the attention and the compensation also. And integrity goes out the door really fast, and then, of course, the politicians play right into it.
Yes.
If more contingents like me would just speak out and speak up regarding, that we don't want to see this deplorable behavior. Perhaps that will bring us back to what we want to see, which is civility in politics.
Okay, with that in mind, Ms. Henry, what would you recommend that we as constituents do to discourage this type of bad behavior?
Well, one of the things they always say, when you hit someone in their purses, you can get their attention.
Well.
And this is one of the ways that we are saying for us as people to get together, to communicate with one another, and form coalitions so that our voices may be heard. We know that sending messages that relay unacceptable behavior is our main goal, our main focus. And as we continue to be together, we can always get that attention that's needed.
Well, what are some concrete recommendations, to help put civility back into politics? What any other ideas, Ms. Henry?
Well, I would say one of the things that we need to consider is speaking to the politicians. Forming relationships means a great deal.
Yes.
We need
absolutely.
to not only speaking among ourselves, but they need to come to us. They need to talk to us. We are their customers. Mm-hmm. We're the ones who pay their bills.
Well, actually, they are supposed to be working on our behalf, and we need to hold them accountable, yes?
By all means. Another way to hold them accountable would be to have them take some training lessons.
Maybe.
Okay?
Yeah.
They need to understand that not only working with the public means working with their constituencies, but they can work with one another and to be able to disagree and not be disagreeable.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It is okay to have your opinion, but you must respect the opinions of others. In terms of some of the other recommendations I would offer, for an example, the other day I was reading an article how a particular institution did workshops on civility. And what they were doing, they were offering workshops with their local politicians, both state and national. And in these workshops, they allowed, number one, for the candidates to come together as human beings and forming relationships. They also pointed out the types of behavior that was needed in order to formulate a platform that was acceptable. The other thing that was offered as far as a suggestion was the pledge. And the pledge that was designed by Mark DeMoss and also Lanny Davis had 3 points, and it went like this. I will be civil in my public discourse and behavior. I will be respectful of others, whether they agree with me or not. And the third one, I will stand against any incivility when I see it. In summary, the items that we've discussed include 7 suggestions in terms of how to get politicians to clean up their act and also put civility back into political arena. Starting with number 1, require respect. Number 2, speak out and speak up. Number 3, form coalitions for advocacy. Number 4, write letters to your congresspersons as well as your local television stations. And number 5, apply economic pressure, not only to the advertisers, but to the supporters who are funding the campaigns. And number 6, conduct training workshops. These are the workshops for the politicians who are campaigning. And number 7, require them to take the pledge.
Well, I thank you so much, Ms. Henry, for your time today and sharing, and Ms. Bankhead for coming in today to share on this very important topic, because we need to make sure that our political leaders represent not only themselves well, but they're supposed to be representing us, and that is so important. Thank you all so much for coming in today, for helping us have our say. Any final words, though, in closing? I should say that. Any final words?
Well, I always say even James Brown knew how to say please, please, please. So civility and the golden rule, do unto others. And it seems like a no-brainer, but I hope it becomes more part of our society.
Absolutely. Ms. Henry?
And I want to say to everyone that we hope that during this last round of the campaign season, that our winner will be the one who would represent not only the party, but represents our country.
Thank you all so much for coming and helping us having our say. Good night, everybody.